are making our own story as we go.
Hi, welcome to Your Dream Day podcast. I'm your host, Kathy Peach Lucas, and today we are going to have some gaming fun.
Yes,
I am
ma'am.
at Walton's Games, and we are with Adam Walton, who is the owner of Walton's Games. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. We're very excited to be a part of your podcast.
Yeah, we met at Bridal Rama.
We did? Yep.
And when I saw your booth, at first I'm like, video games. Then I saw all of the men started going to your booth, and it was almost like a groom sitting room. Where they basically were just like, I need this.
Right. We're aware of our demographic is usually skews a little bit more male, but I think it's a great way. My counter argument to brides at the event that said, oh man, I don't know if I want video games at my wedding is, look, this is a bargaining chip. You get to say, honey, I'll let you have this, but in exchange, I'm going to want this, 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 and this. And most men are going to be like, yeah, that's fine. Let's do that, because it's a 50-50 trade, which if nothing, marriage is nothing but, finding compromise. See? Yeah, exactly.
So what types of games have couples been renting for weddings? We
find that there are three stages, or three games, I should say, not stages, three games that are really big for weddings. The first is for grooms get ready rooms, is a way to say, hey, we realize men, it takes you a lot less time to get ready than it does women. I think on my wedding day, I played golf and then I got dressed about an hour for the ceremony. Meanwhile, my bride spent the entire day, doing hair and makeup and everything that comes along with it. So we rent grooms get ready rooms. Big Buck Hunter's a big fan favorite, which is a shooting game. Golden Tee Golf. The pinballs we have behind us, people love those. Skee balls, Super Checks hockey, depending on what it is. Just something where men can kind of be men together and you play a little game. It takes your mind off the fact that you're getting married. It's a little way to calm, you relax, you settle down, maybe you have an adult beverage or two, I don't know, and play some video games. Now, I will say I did have a bride who made me put a note on there that says the wedding starts at 6. This game shuts off at 5:50. You will not be late to marry me because you're playing Golden Tee Golf. So, put that little caveat out there.
No, it actually is not too far off because especially Bengals games, Ohio State games, if there is a TV in the party bus, the guys stay there. They're like, no. They're on the 5-yard line.
Yeah, we got 30 minutes. We'll be there. Yeah.
And it is a real problem.
Oh, for sure.
And so you have to, like, from a schedule perspective, if there is going to be a big game.
Got to make sure you got the timing around it.
Well, you may not know until the schedule comes out, and your wedding may have already been booked on that day months in advance.
True.
So it's more like you have to be aware. If you are having your wedding downtown, for example, and there's a Reds game or there's a Bengals game, you're going to pay more for parking, and it's going to be tight.
Yep.
And, those are things that you just need to be aware of.
Right.
But as far as the arcade goes, you were saying the ones that hit the best?
The get ready room is great first, but after the ceremony, a lot of times now, cocktail hour, where we always say we're the cure for a boring cocktail hour because a lot of times you're just kind of sitting around and you don't really know people, especially if you're at a coworker's wedding where it's primarily family and you're kind of the odd man or woman out. Same thing if you're, at a college roommates that maybe you knew really well back then, but now you don't really know them. Or you're just an introvert. I'm an introverted person. I don't love to go to big group events. We have found that the cocktail tables where we can place 3 or 4 of them in a reception hall gives people something to do. And not only are they fun, the Arcade Legends game comes with 80 of the greatest classics from the 1980s and 90s, games like Frogger and Donkey Kong and Pac-Man and Missile Command and Space Invaders and all those games that a lot of people probably...
Is it scary? I know all those games.
I was going to say, the people that really love them are getting up there a little in age now, but we don't like to admit that. Anyway, they're great icebreakers, and we had one that was so popular, they ended up finding a whiteboard somewhere and creating a Pac-Man tournament. And so throughout the wedding, even as the ceremonies or the receptions moved on, they're coming back to play Pac-Man because they're trying to beat the high score. And I think the prize was a dance with the bride at the end or something like that, but it ended up being a story that you don't forget. That's a wedding 20 years from now you remember because I beat Bill at Pac-Man and he's never going to hear the end of that. So it's a great way to, set your wedding apart from everybody else's that you've been to. Finally, what we found has been really great for weddings is claw machines. The good old arcade classic, drop in, grab them. Yeah. A lot of brides will go on Etsy and sites like that and create little t-shirt for the bears that say Jeff and Savannah's big day or April and Alex's big day, May 25th, whatever. And then each guest can kind of play a game and take home a bear with a little memento with their, to save the date on it like that. They're fun to have, and I've never seen a a claw machine. Not usually those are like surprises to the brides. Like my wife would love that if that had been a surprise I brought to our wedding was a claw machine. She will play a claw machine all day long, even though I tell her like they're rigged. What are you doing? She's like, no, I'm going to win this time. Okay. So,
See, I would have had a pinball machine.
oh yeah.
Because when I was growing up, my aunt had a pinball machine in her basement, and I remember when they got it because I was maybe like 8 or 9 years old.
Back then, it was crazy good. Like,
wow,
what is this?
that was a big deal for a 9-year-old. And I literally played this every single time I would come to visit. I would play that arcade game. And I guess she cleaned out her house a few years ago, and I'm like, I asked my cousin, I said, what'd she do with the pinball machine? Because I probably would have bought it off.
Oh, heck yeah. It's interesting. People ask me all the time, does the younger generation, do they play to this? It's not on their phone. They don't like it. I said, you put any 11-year-old, 12-year-old kid in front of a pinball.
Yep.
Doesn't matter when they were born. I have kids that come in here, they've never seen one. And 5 minutes later, Mom, we got to get one of these. This is the coolest thing I've ever played.
See, we were cool.
We were.
We were awesome.
We were, definitely. And it's so different than the little thing on their screen because it's big and it vibrates and it flashes and it's loud and you combos and it's so overwhelming compared to this little thing you're just hunting and pecking around.
Well, it's more stimulation.
Oh, way more. Yeah.
Well, and back in the day, you had to get rolls of quarters to play these. Now, do you require gold?
We don't. Everything's on free
Tokens
play.
or quarters?
Although, funny story, I did have a bride tell me, she said, I want to put this on $1 a play. And I said, well, we can do that, but it's your wedding. And she goes, yeah, this is going to pay for my bar tab.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, that is genius, honey. I never would have thought of that. So yeah, we put a Golden Tee Golf on $. I think she made like $100 or something like that. So she was happy. And
see, now that's what my husband would want. Yeah. He would want the Golden Tee Golf.
Love it. They're super fun. I'll admit that I usually play about a round a day when I'm here at work. We started over there on the 8 a.m. and as the day goes on, somebody comes and plays a hole, and you go on about your day. And we play about a round of golf a day here.
I'm actually thinking that would be the most beautiful Christmas present.
Oh, yeah.
It's like put a big bow on it and be like, now don't get excited. You only get it for a day.
We do day rentals, I'll tell you, if you want to do it. It's a great way for a lot of our guests to find out if they want to take one home. Like, it's an expensive purchase, but, you rent it for a day and you go, okay, I could see myself playing this, or, this wasn't for me. So, it's a great way to, dip your toe in a little bit.
So what is the price range to retain and rent some of these games?
So we do everything kind of on a package level. If the more you rent, the more you save kind of thing. To start with, like a Golden Tee, Big Buck Hunter, we charge, I think the Golden Tees are around $5.95
Oh, that's not bad.
a night. Yeah, no, it's really
it's
not.
It's no different than a photo booth.
Right. It's about 10% of what your normal cost would be for something like that. If you're buying a brand new Golden Tee, it's going to be about $6,000. So renting it for a night, it's about 10% of that. So yeah, about $5.95. If you're doing a package deal, we'll do like 3 games for $1,200 or something like that. We do free pickup, free delivery. We can work with pretty much any venue in town. I don't think we've been blacklisted per se by any site in town. We'll do outdoor events too. And a lot of people say, well, we're doing an outdoor wedding. That's okay, as long as there's somewhere flat and a little bit of overhang
and
electricity. That's the key part. But even if there's not, we got giant extension cords in the back. Like we can make it work. If you got a spot that you're really like, hey, I really want a racing game here, we'll get you a racing game. I've got a photo that we use on our social media of a bride who's sitting in her Cruising USA and she's just beat her husband and she's arms up in the dress, and I love it. It's just, they were a great couple. They were so happy together, and being a part of their day was really special. It was really fun.
Aww.
Yeah.
No, one time I had a client that wanted a Papa Shot at their wedding reception, but she ordered it online.
Okay.
And she gave us 3 boxes and said, you need to put this together. It took us 3 hours, 3 people, 3 hours to put that together.
Yeah.
And if you do the math on the labor, it would have been more cost effective to rent it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We have giant Papa Shots. We also have smaller Papa Shots, but we'll bring anything you got and anything you're looking for. If you come to me and you're like, hey, this is what I want. If I don't have it, I'll see if I can find a way to get it for you,
That's awesome.
It's fun.
That's so cool.
It gives you something different. Your wedding is no longer cookie cutter. It's not, everybody's doing this, everybody's doing that. Very few people are doing this yet. So it's a way to be a part of the front of the trend and front of the curve.
Yep. And to me, this makes it, if you're considering a photo booth, this is something that you should absolutely consider, because the goal of a photo booth is to let your guests have a good time and be silly and, have something to remember. If you have a video game, they're going to have that memory, and they'll probably stay longer at the video game.
Oh, yeah.
You probably need a video game attendant to say, okay,
Sometimes,
it's time to move on now. It's not fair.
Well, it's great for children too. If you have a wedding reception that's maybe a little more on the upscale end, and your kids are kind of bored or running around like crazy, It's great to set up a corner of your space where you got 4 or 5 video games. The kids stay neutral over there. The adults can have a good time over there. Every now and then, you said there's a few dads that have wandered in to check on the kids that end up, playing the video games themselves, So it's just a fun way to have an evening go by and like I said, set you apart from the crowd a little bit,
Yeah, absolutely.
We found, too, that rehearsal dinners, too, it's a good icebreaker for rehearsal dinners, especially when
I
you
never
don't
would
really
have thought
know,
of that, but
right.
It makes complete sense.
Well, if you don't really know the other side of the family that well, like I said, who doesn't love a good Pac-Man tournament? Who doesn't love a good Golden Tee tournament or something like that? It's a great way to
Probably
break
the restaurant
ice.
because they'll never leave.
That's true. That's true. Sometimes you got to have the right venue for something like that. But yeah.
Well, perfect. Well, today, as you can see, we had the opportunity. For those of you who are just listening, you don't get to see this unless you go on our YouTube channel, but we had the opportunity to go around to a bunch of games, and I had a blast.
It was
so much fun.
It's been one of the better jobs I've had because it's just so much fun. Playing games for a living is a great job. I love it.
Oh, my nephew would love that job. Play games
Tell
for
me
a
come
living.
on down sometime. Yeah, it's fun.
So, what are your top three favorite games on the floor?
My top 3 favorite games? That's a great one. Probably what you're standing behind here. This is a vintage Creature from the Black Lagoon pinball. It is from the mid-'80s, I believe. I'm not 100% on that one. It's just a super fun game. I honestly had never seen the movie before we bought it.
Yeah.
And I've played that game so many times because it's like I said, it's difficult. So, there's that challenge to it. You can't beat it. And I've yet to beat it, which is annoying. But it's just a fun game to play. I love the Czechs hockey that we have, which is basically like foosball, but for hockey. It's got a dome over top of it.
Yep.
But what's really cool is they've modernized it. So there's a screen up top, like a Jumbotron that plays highlights and clips. It plays the national anthem. It has air horns when you score. It's a really fun game that if more people played it, I think it would be way more popular than it is when you really, this is super fun. Lastly, I'm always a fan of a good riding game. Like the Arctic Thunder is like a snowmobile racing game. We've got racing motorcycles, and then we also have a Hydro Thunder, which is a racing jet boats. We don't have that right now. It's actually on a rental, but super fun game too. We rent all those out for weddings. Any events you got in mind, we can rent it out for usually.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I think my 3 favorite games would be Ms. Pac-Man
Always fun.
and air hockey.
Yep.
And then just a pinball machine.
Yeah.
I think the vintage ones, I saw this one. It was a Playboy one, and it had the flip numbers, like this one.
Yeah,
you
this
may
one
not be able to see
Freedom,
this in the shot, the Bally's.
Yeah.
But those were from the 60s.
Oh, yeah, they go way back.
And they flipped versus the digital display.
Yep.
Those are just so fun.
Before we leave, I'll take you to the back. We've got about 10 of those in the back that we're in the process of restoring, and they're really cool to see.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a fun job to have, honestly. Yeah.
That's so
It's
fun.
really cool. Yeah.
So if people want to book these entertainment games, how do they find you?
So multiple channels, we're on all the social media, Walton Games on Facebook, Walton Games on Instagram and TikTok. We also, old-fashioned, you can email sales@waltonsgames.com. Our phone number is 513-281-4444. Or stop by and see us. We're on Ritter Avenue in Blue Ash, 4772 Ritter Avenue in Blue Ash. We're next door to the fire department and behind Sammy's Burgers. If you're looking for a good lunch, I highly recommend them too. Fantastic. They're very good.
Well, wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining
Thanks for
us today.
having
Thanks
us.
for letting me come
This
play.
was so much fun. Yeah, we had a great time. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you get notified every time we post a new podcast. This is Kathy Peach Lucas with Your Dream Day. Happy planning.